We'll go ahead and get started. I did a brief intro before, but we're just excited to kick off our TIG chat. So most of you have probably been to some of these before, but we'll usually have a presenter and then we'll have an opportunity for engagement. But I think we have a few examples this time. So we're really excited to have our presenter, Vishakha, with us today. Vishakha is an independent consulting and the founder of a firm that specializes in evaluation training and qualitative research. As a trainer, she equips multi-sector audiences with tools to master key evaluation concepts through engaging trainings and presentations. In her consulting work, she partners with museums and cultural organizations to collect and analyze qualitative data, helping them uncover visitor insights that drive effective exhibit strategies. So we're really excited and thankful to have Vishakha with us to learn some more about AI. I know this is a popular topic, so I'm going to turn it over to you, Vishakha, to get started.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I am so thrilled to be here today. I just want to say a quick caveat is that I usually like to start presentations slow and easy, getting to know each other, but we have so much content to get through today, and I'm notorious for just like, I have the gift of gab, which is a blessing and a curse. So to make sure that we get through all of it, I'm going to try to speak at a breakneck speed. If it's too fast for you, if you're confused, you want me to slow down or repeat anything, please drop it in the chat and someone will alert me and let me know. Or honestly, feel free to shout it out. I think we have not too many people in here, so it won't get too rowdy. But yeah, so great and excited to get started here. All right, so just wanted to quickly orient you all to what we're going to talk about today. So using AI for evaluation, we're first going to just set the stage, get started. And then the meat of our conversation today is going to be how I use AI to support evaluation tasks. So I just want to say I'm going to be speaking from my own experience, and I wanted to come up with a few use cases that I know are pretty much widely useful across evaluation. So we'll talk about these 4 use cases, we'll do some demos, some hands-on exercises, and then I really want to save time for our discussion. I know data privacy is a big thing for your sector, and then of course leave time for Q&A. A little bit about me. So my name is Vishakha Ramakrishnan. I am an evaluation trainer and consultant. I have kind of a non-traditional journey to where I am today. I actually started in public health with a master's in public health, focusing in biostats. I worked at the CDC for about 6 years, got a little burnt out from COVID, and switched over to this cool industry called visitor studies that I've just adored, where I help museums do data analysis to figure out what their audiences need and how to meet those needs. And you can find me evaluating your local cultural institution. And I am currently based in Chicago. I have all of my contact information here on the bottom. I will attempt to drop it in the chat right now. So feel free, I'm always available via email or on LinkedIn if you have any questions about this at all. I know we have a tight 1-hour schedule, so I'm always open to further discussion. And of course, I'm currently based in Chicago and I'm new to Chicago. Matt gave me some amazing tips and tricks on restaurants. And if you all have any other ideas, please let me know. All right, so setting the stage. We are going to talk about AI platforms in general, but I primarily work in Claude, which is Anthropic's tool. But the tips that I'm talking about today will actually work for any platform. And during our hands-on portion, I'm actually going to welcome you all to use different platforms, and we can just have an open discussion about how each platform uses the prompts differently. So I'm really excited for that part. We're going to be focusing on practical guidance and application. So this presentation might be a little bit more basic, less theoretical for some of you all who are already on the expert end of AI use, but I really wanted to make sure that I was leaving you with tools that you can use immediately after the presentation. So that's going to be our focus today. Again, you'll be hearing my personal experiences. So I consider these to be facts, but of course they are also my personal experiences. So if you have anything that you think differs or any other ideas or ways to use AI that you think I haven't touched on, please drop that in the chat. Please feel free to speak up. Super excited to learn from you all today. And then of course, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to do some demos and also some hands-on exercises to get you all involved. Okay. So getting started. So I like to just orient us now to what AI can and cannot or should not do for you. Step 1, across the board, tailor your AI tool to work for you. This is based on your personal preference. The nicer tones on AI can actually lead to less effective and accurate feedback. So I don't know if you all have used ChatGPT and it's been like, wow, great job, or like, that's a great idea. I can't believe you came up with that. It's just like complimenting you for no reason. Something I've learned from my own experience is that that actually leads me to having worse results for the inquiry that I'm putting in there. So um, we like to overall avoid AI sycophancy. So that is a chatbot's tendency to agree with, flatter, or validate your opinions or beliefs, even if they're incorrect, sacrificing truthfulness for user approval. So these AI bots basically tend to do the thing that's going to make the user happy, whether or not that's what you're asking for. So every single chatbot, I saw this on Claude, Gemini, and on ChatGPT, but I know all of them have this. They have this ability to where you can put in what you want it to behave like. So these are my personal preferences that I put into Claude. Avoid sycophancy, avoid therapizing. It's sad that I have to say that, but sometimes the AI really wants you to feel better and is like, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm like, I just need you to write my email and not tell me to feel better. Be objective and logical. Do not try to get to know me better. Stop providing edits only after all errors are addressed. So something that I came up with Claude, or came up against rather, is that after 2 rounds of edits, it would kind of feel bad and be like, this is actually good to go. When I know rationally it wasn't good to go, I actually want you to give me as many iterations as it takes for me to feel like I'm at my final product. So here's an example in ChatGPT of how to change this. So you go into settings and personalization, and you can see all of the different options here. I like to stick with efficient, but you know, all those news stories about people like building relationships, parasocial relationships with ChatGPT, that's probably like the friendly tone or, you know, quirky, playful, and imaginative. That's not why I'm using ChatGPT. I'm using it to support me in brainstorming for my very like concrete tasks. So for that, I prefer to use efficient. And then you can, of course, you can tailor a lot actually in ChatGPT. So before I go ahead, actually, are there any questions on anything that I've mentioned so far about the tones, sycophancy, any of that? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to move forward. Awesome. So talking a little bit about what LLMs are good at and what we should use them for versus what we shouldn't use them for. I'm going to start with the positive. LLMs are large language models. They are best at content review and optimization. So here's an example of how I actually used to use ChatGPT. Before I used AI for evaluation, I used it to refine how I communicate my service offerings as an independent consultant. So I had this whole blurb that I had sort of drafted up. I put in my resume, I put in, you know, previous work examples. And this is sort of the framework that I came up with for myself. I iterated on this a bunch. I said, you know, here's a blurb from my website. Can you use some of that wordage? Can you help me improve this? You know, really working with the AI as a brainstorm tool. And then I arrived at this 2-pager. AI did not design this for me. I have unfortunately yet to find a good AI-based design tool, but all of this content is shaped pretty strongly by my conversation with AI, making sure that I'm refining my text, making sure it's clear, concise, and sort of punchy for this 2-pager. LLMs overall can be great for refining your communication. So back to that, like wording and text, they're great at just text work. I've found personally that Gemini, the AI tool, is best for human sounding emails. And a key consideration for using AI for anything that is supposed to reflect your voice, you have to make sure that it's personal and make sure that it sounds genuine. There's really nothing worse than lazy AI use, which is what I call someone who just types something into ChatGPT, takes the answer, copies it, and pastes it and uses it. I've actually gotten emails sent to me that still have the ChatGPT prompt in them. I'm not sure if any of you all have received an email like this, but it's just super lazy. And people can tell when you've used AI. So I think the best use of AI is making sure that no one knows that you used AI, right? You're using it as a brainstorm tool. You're not using it as someone who's actually typing for you. So here's an example of just a query that I used for Gemini for email. I would like to ask this group that I did a quick pro bono analysis for whether they're interested in creating a formal consulting agreement that is paid, blah, blah, blah. Can you help me make sure that it sounds approachable, not forceful, but clear? It's super helpful with adjusting tone. I will just write, sometimes I get like email writer's block because I get really nervous about the way that I'm coming off in an email. So AI has been really helpful for me personally, making sure that my tone is coming off the way that I want it to without me feeling just paralyzed by that communication. Okay, so now what LLMs are bad at? They are bad at mathematical computation. So LLMs work by predicting patterns, not by calculating. So they will work with common calculations, 5 times 6. For example, a lot of people are putting that in. They can find it very easily on the internet. But they may fail on less common calculations, like 347 times 23, right? Not a lot of people are asking for that math. It might just give you the wrong answer. Errors are most likely to happen in multi-step calculations, where basically if I'm saying multiply this, then this, then this, then this, we don't know where that error is, so the errors can compound, giving you an answer that's just completely off base. Any math with large numbers, calculations requiring precision, that's like decimals, percentages, financial figures, statistical operations, means, standard deviations, confidence intervals. This is a lot of what we do as evaluators. Any situation where the exact number matters for decision making. I think LLMs can be very helpful if you're trying to do a general estimate and you're not reporting that number out to a specific person. In that scenario, we definitely do not want to use an LLM. So what do I personally do about this? When it comes to quantitative analysis, I actually handle the core data crunching myself. I will use AI instead to brainstorm key analysis questions for my audience. So I'll say, what do you think this audience would be interested in? And that's going to inform the questions that I ask my data. I also use AI to refine my Excel formulas, refine the work that I do in Power Query. If I notice that something is breaking, I just plug it into AI. I'll say, why is this formula not working? This is what I want to do. It's not happening. And then sometimes I'll also drop in a pivot table to see what insights I might have missed. So I'm looking at a pivot table with my sort of set of hypotheses. I'll put the pivot table, the work that I've already done, right? That's kind of my result table. I'll put it into AI and it might tell me, hey, this is actually a really interesting trend that we noticed, or here's a really interesting thing you might want to dig deeper into. So overall, LLMs are most useful for qualitative data. So let's talk about AI with qualitative analysis. I personally work with data sets of under 50 responses. So please note that that is sort of my frame for the work that I'm going to be talking about for qualitative analysis. Keeping the response set low allows me to know my data deeply before using any tools. I'm using my brain. I'm able to read everything in a digestible way where I'm still able to like remember and understand. So AI will help me validate my hypotheses and my coding decisions for qualitative data. I can ask targeted questions like, what did people think about the resume support workshop at the job fair? And it's able to go through the qualitative results and pull out, what people actually thought about the resume support workshop. It'll look for keywords. It'll sort of analyze what they're saying and pull out things that I want to see. It also helps me quickly find specific quotes that I want to share in my final report. I'm like, man, I remember somewhere in this data, I read that someone said that the resume workshop was really good. I can say, where's that quote where someone said that they really liked the resume workshop, and it'll pull it for me. For all AI tools, it's important to keep a close eye on results and refine your prompts accordingly. And don't worry, we're going to get some hands-on experience with this later today. Okay, another pause for questions.
I don't think there's any questions, but there is a comment in the chat.
Oh, I see it. Okay. I expect that LLMs don't do math well is already changing as the companies, organizations, and programmers and researchers are learning more. I've read that some tools now explicitly spin off agents that write and run code to create models and run computations when the tool needs to do that kind of work. Yes, so this is true. I am talking about my experience in Claude, but there definitely are specialist tools that are built for quantitative analysis. I think I'm personally working on data that is at a smaller scale, and I personally have low trust in that quantitative capability at this moment. This might very well change as things get more advanced. I also am more of a qualitative analyst in general. So I'm not necessarily needing to do higher level statistical analysis at this point, but I would definitely love to see if other tools start coming out into the market that are better at that. Okay. Any questions before we move on? Thank you for that comment, Kevin. Okay. So a quick preview of what we're going to do today. So I'm going to show you two demos of just using screenshots and things that I've done. The two use cases that I'll be demoing are proposals and applications, and then developing process and outcome indicators. And then the hands-on exercises that we'll do are survey design and qualitative analysis. Okay, use case one, proposals and applications. So what I love to do for AI, with AI, as I'm doing proposals, is have AI do the work of a proposal reviewer. So I will write my evaluation proposal or plan. It does not have to be completely polished. And then I'll upload my proposal to the RFP to AI. And I'll ask something like, does my proposal meet the requirements outlined in the RFP? I recommend doing this with early drafts so you can catch problems early and kind of do your own process evaluation. So here is an example from an RFP that I worked on a few months ago. So you can see that I uploaded the RFP, I uploaded my proposal that I wrote, and I said, does my proposal meet the funder's needs as detailed in the RFP? It gives me a little bit of feedback. Your proposal is strong, demonstrates clear expertise, but there are a few gaps in areas where alignment could be tighter. It tells me what's working well, and it tells me recommended additions. But here's the thing, you don't always have to agree with AI's feedback. You can take what you want and leave the rest. So something that AI says is include your daily rate even if you prefer deliverable-based pricing, give them both options. This is a personal preference. I like to just say deliverable-based pricing. I had a meeting with the funder beforehand and I said, hey, this is how I like to do my pricing. This is how I'll be structuring it in my proposal. AI doesn't know that. I don't have to take this piece of feedback. But there's some really good points here. I hadn't added anything about implementation mechanics and anticipated response rate for a survey. Like, this is all really important stuff that I should have put in there that I did not. And I did a survey a few months ago on how the eval community actually uses AI for RFPs and apps. So here are a few quotes. It helps someone brainstorm ideas, summarize reports, and create checklists. Someone used it for proposals, cover letters, brainstorming, and then another person used it to assess strengths and gaps for a specific job opening. So there's so many ways that everyone is using AI for their work. And we're just barely scratching the surface of what's possible with AI. Any questions on use case one? And our RFPs, is that sort of a thing that comes up for you all in, grant writing and things like that in your fields? Is this something that is important for you all and comes up for you? Feel free to just unmute and chat it out as well. Okay, yes from Lisa, yes from Leah. Excuse me. Have you used AI for working on these yet? No. Okay. Yeah, I think using AI as a proposal reviewer is super, super helpful. It goes through your RFP, whatever you're writing, with a fine-tooth comb, just to make sure that you're not missing anything. And this also, you get to use it to your own level of comfort. I'm definitely not telling you to write the whole proposal with AI, but using it as a brainstorm partner, using it as a reviewer is super helpful. Awesome. Leah said, if use it wants to help reshape a proposal, found it helpful. Awesome. Any sense of how much additional context is needed or helpful? So the AI is just as useful as what you put into it. So I always say, whatever you get out, if you don't like it, keep iterating. keep asking. You have to keep tweaking what you put in as a prompt to make sure that you're getting out what you want out of it. Okay. Moving on to use case 2. So developing process and outcome indicators. So this is a scenario. Let's just say that we know what the outcomes are for our program. We're working on a program, but we need help measuring our progress in a smart way. So that's specific, measurable, actionable, reasonable, and timely. Kind of going to Kevin's question about how much context to put in as much context as you want, right? So enter the program goal, enter the outcomes you want to reach, drop in your logic model, enter the time frame for measurement. So for example, you can prompt something like, for my audience of blank, how can I measure progress towards this outcome at the 1-year mark? Here is an example of sort of like a dummy set of outcomes that I came up with. So let's say the goal for the museum is for it to be a welcoming, relevant, and engaging environment for recent immigrant and refugee communities. I put in my goal, I put in my outcomes, impact, and the timeframes, and I'll say, what are some indicators to measure progress towards program goals at the 3-month mark? This is what it comes out with, a whole lot of stuff. I'm not going to read all of this out, and I'll pause here for you all to just take a look at this stuff. But overall, what I like to say is that responses will not be perfect, and they may not be appropriate for your audience. You are the evaluation expert, and you know what's feasible. AI is your brainstorm partner, not your solution machine. So that's sort of like, if there's one thing you take away from this, it's that you cannot use AI directly. You have to work with it. You have to put in the effort to refine your prompts, refine what comes out. It's really someone that you're sort of like spitballing with. It's not someone that you're assigning to do work. You're the only person who's going to know what's feasible here. So for example, for a museum, like, let's just say, early signals of change. Let's find one that just feels completely unreasonable for 3 months. Maybe there's no way that we're going to have staff trained up that quickly. Or I know based on my program that there's not going to be listening sessions or site visits with community organizations. We haven't even partnered with them yet. We haven't even started the partnership process. So you as the evaluation person, you as a program expert are going to know what makes sense here. And it's your responsibility to make sure that you're sifting out everything that's bad and keeping just the gems. So any questions on use case 2? Do you all have to work with logic models pretty often and come up with indicators and things like that? I'm assuming this probably comes up around strategic planning. So have any of you all been part of strategic planning efforts where you think that using an AI tool might be helpful? Okay, getting a yes from Karen, yes from Lisa. Awesome. You can see this being helpful in multiple contexts. If you use it frequently with strategic planning, awesome. Definitely use logic models. This could be helpful for brainstorming. So yeah, absolutely. It's super helpful when you just need an ideas factory. You just need someone to spitball a bunch of things, right? If I'm time crunched, I'm not in my most visionary state, it's hard for me to come up with examples for things. And I just give me a bunch of ideas, and maybe 9 out of 10 of them are garbage, but I'm going to use one and I'm going to iterate on that and use that one ultimately. I wonder if anyone has compared feedback from an AI tool with actual feedback received from reviewers/program officers. Yes. So I actually just spoke with someone who used AI to create actually a whole grant application. She iterated on it. It took her a few hours. That application, through working with AI and doing that iterative process, and it scored well, she got a 99 out of 100 score from the program officer ultimately and got that feedback. So she was just making sure that she was using the AI tool to catch every single error that was out there so she could, present her organization in the best way possible. It can definitely work. Again, it just depends on what you put in. The quality of what you get out is the same as the quality of what you put in. So you want to put in as much context and supporting documentation and iteration and thoughts as you can. Awesome. Okay, so let's get hands-on. So this is great. We have 30 minutes left, and I would love for this next portion to be really interactive. So for those of you who have not been putting a ton of stuff in the chat, this is your moment to shine, fortunately or unfortunately. So let's get into it. Use case 3 for AI and evaluation is developing and testing survey questions. AI can help you create a bank of survey questions to pick from. They will not be perfect. AI is your brainstorm partner, not your solution machine. Again, if this is like burned into your brain at the end of this session, that's all that matters to me. So here's a concept, right? I am a very stressed out program manager, and my audience is X, and I want to understand something about them. I need help creating a survey that takes, a few minutes to complete. I don't want any open-ended questions. I do not have capacity to go through qualitative answers. I just want to know, give me multiple choice, give me stuff that I can very easily have my intern calculate for me. So here is my prompt. My audience is college students at Vishakha University. I want to understand whether they feel this institution prepared them for their career goals. Create a survey that takes 5 minutes to complete with no open-ended questions. So now I'm going to turn this over to you all. I would love for you to grab thank you so much, Kevin, for grab the text that we just put in the chat and put it into your AI tool of choice. That could be Copilot or Gemini or whatever chatbot or AI tool that you're using. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to do, or let's just say, 3 minutes to do this. And then I would love if you all could just tell me a little bit about what's come up for you, what tool you use, and we'll do a bit of a share out. I wish I had the Jeopardy music on right now, but I'm going to pause for a sec and let's put this in. And I will be demoing in Claude. Okay. Are we feeling ready? All right. So I have Claude up right now, but before we get into it, please either come off mute or drop it in the chat. What tools did people use to do this exercise? Okay, Gemini, ChatGPT, I use Gemini, Notebook LLM. I'm less experienced with Notebook, so I'd love to talk about that one more. Okay. Oh my God, I just decided the following. Vishakha Institute of Engineering Technology. Oh my goodness. Sorry, you guys, I didn't tell you that I ran a college. Okay, ChatGPT. Awesome. So I need one person from each product to speak up about their experience. So I, unfortunately, Seni, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. You will have to speak up because you're the only person to use Notebook. But can I have a representative from ChatGPT who wants to share a little bit about their experience? Awesome. Please feel free to come off mute, whatever works. Hi,
I'm going to go
Tom.
ahead and stop recording now so people can feel free to
Okay.
join in.
Okay.
So everybody watching this out in YouTube land, we'll see you guys later.